5 days since I served my STBXW30F of 7 years, now everyone is piling on me to talk to her. I have made a decision to go NC after serving my wife 5 days ago. I am refusing to see or talk to her and everyone is piling on to talk to her. It's driving me nutty, messages and calls 24/7. What can I say to these people to get them to back off without being rude? These are my friends, family, people I want to remain in contact with after the divorce is finalized. Some background: we dated from the age of 20 and married when she became pregnant with our son. Our marriage was great. We got another kid, a daughter 2 years after the first, and have had excellent intimacy, good communication, good finances. We owned our house. We had a cat. Kids are well balanced and doing well. We were happy, or so I thought. Then about 4 months ago, my wife, let's call her Sue, came home from work gushing about this new manager they got. Let's call him Frank. I felt uneasy right away, like something was off. I smiled and asked a few questions, like if he was married, did he have kids, where did he live, etc. She tells me he is on his second marriage and have 4 kids in total. I was thinking this was probably a crush. I have had those, but they usually pass. So I decided to just wait. It would probably just go away. Over the next week this would happen every day and I got more and more uneasy. I decided I need to see if something more was going on, so I told Sue that I got a virus alert on the home network and that I needed to update the virus software on her pad, her mobile and her laptop. She has no IT skills whatsoever. She gave me her equipment and I installed remote monitoring software and keylogging from the best online service I could find. Best $20 a month subscription I ever got. A few days later I saw the first text messages going back and forth between them. They were pretty innocent. Mostly work related. Still, the frequency escalates a little over the next 4-6 weeks and gets more personal. I do a soft confrontation with my wife. She comes home from work and I stare at her intensely. Sue, what is wrong? Me, have you crashed the car or something? Sue, what? No. Me, you look like you have done something wrong and you are trying to hide it? Sue, no? I am not. What are you talking about? Me, you look guilty of something? Are you lying to me? Is there something you need to tell me? Sue, no, I just had a long day at work, blah blah. The next few days there was fewer messages between them, but they are quickly back at it in full force. The messages start to get flirty. I softly confront her again. Again she lies to my face. I decide this will probably end badly at around the 2-month mark and I decide to prepare for the worst. I also start to prepare myself emotionally. Over the next 2 months their exchanges evolve into a full-blown emotional affair, and it's getting more and more sexual. I confront my wife repeatedly. I don't present any evidence. She keeps lying. I am not going to force her to stop. After all, she is a grown woman and she makes her own choices. She lies to my face again and again. I feel a gigantic rift opening up between us. Intimacy also stops. I find I am checking out of the marriage in parallel with their activities. I am devastated but working out a lot and steeling myself for the reality that the only likely outcome at this point is divorce. I get a lawyer, I prepare the paperwork, and I even hire a guy to be on standby to serve her if and when I decide to pull the cord. Then I see the first messages where they plan to meet up. I am actually relieved since I can finally decide to end it. Just watching this train wreck unfold is agonizing. I rent a room on the same floor on the day they are planning to meet up and I get my guy ready to serve her in the hotel. D-Day arrives, she lies and tells me she has to work overtime. I drive to the hotel and wait for her to arrive. Me and the guy I hired to serve her go up about 10 minutes after she gets into the elevator and we go up to her floor. The elevator needed a keycard. It is the only reason I rented a room. We go to the door, I hear moaning, so they are already at it. I hide around the corner and he bangs loudly on the door. They go quiet. Frank, what is it? Serving guy, I have a urgent delivery for Sue. Sue, what is it? Serving guy, I don't know ma'am, I have just been told it's urgent. It has to be delivered to you right now. And after some more back and forth the wife finally opens the door in a robe. Serving guy, Sue last name? Wife, yes. She gets the envelope and I pop out to sign the form. My wife sees me and just goes white. I sign the papers I need to sign and walk over to her. She doesn't move, I don't know what is going on with her, she looks confused to say the least. Like what she is seeing doesn't compute. I had prepared for this moment. I look into the room. Me, hey Frank, show yourself, I know you were in there. He looks around the corner and is obviously scared. Did you enjoy my wife, Frank? Or is it lying to your own wife that gets you off? Or is it having several mistresses at once, Frank? Is it lying to and cheating on everyone? Is that it? Frank, silence. Then I look at my wife. Me, so you didn't really think you were the only side chick this guy had, did you? You are one of 3 as far as I know. I just made this up, I have no idea if he has other mistresses than my wife. I just needed to be mean and ruin what they had going on. Me, Sue. Listen to me, you are single now, so don't let me disturb anymore, you can go back to continue your activities. Then I stormed off. I started crying, but I wasn't going to let them see that, so I ran down the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. On my way I heard this primal scream from my wife that was unlike anything I had ever heard before. I took a lot of solace in that scream the last few days. I got in my car and ugly cried for hours. Now I am mostly over it, I am glad it's done. I can move on. I feel liberated actually. I told the kids, they are staying with my parents for now. I even started to flirt with a work college and I have got on Tinder. I am chatting with a few women and it's a great boost for my ego. I am not looking for anything physical or serious. I will probably never trust anyone enough to have long-term relationship again anyway. I haven't talked to my wife since, she floods me with messages that I just ignore. But everyone is calling me and trying to guilt trip me, pressure me into talking to her. I have also been thinking about telling Frank's wife. If I was her I would want to know, and I don't think Frank will all of a sudden develop a spine and own up. Edit, I have decided to tell the wife. I have called her and told her the key facts. She didn't believe me outright, so I am meeting her at a coffee shop within the hour. I have also started to ask the people that call me to ask her why I am not talking to her. It seems to slow down the barrage. Update, 5 days since I served my STBXW30F of 7 years, now everyone is piling on me to talk to her. Firstly, thank you everyone for your input. It helped me a lot. I have managed to get rid of most callers. There are only a few stragglers left still trying to pressure me. I met with Frank's wife, more on that further down. The 2 best responses turned out to be: 1. Why don't you ask her why we are not talking? This was very effective. 2. Follow up if number 1 didn't work. Imagine the trauma Sue has inflicted on me for me to go no contact. You pressuring me is adding a lot to my stress. Will you pay for my psychotherapy if I have a total mental breakdown? No? Okay, maybe you should stay out of this then. A-okay. Click. Secondly, I think I need to clarify a little. Many seem to think that I had full control and executed a flawless maneuver. The entire day, apart from the 10 minutes when I confronted her, I was a total mess. It took me 2 months of steeling myself and preparation to be able to pull off the 10-minute confrontation. I was hoping she would turn around at the door and come back down. She had dozens of chances to stop and come clean, but she didn't. I guess I was hoping up until the last second that she had stopped. I would have been able to talk about reconciling up until the point where they got physical. It took everything I had not to break down in tears in the hotel. In fact, I started crying before I reached the end of the hallway. Also, I didn't do this as some kind of revenge. I did it to break free and regain a bit of my self-worth. Being cheated on was degrading, humiliating and emasculating. I am a shell of my former self. I do realize that this is because I loved her with all of my heart, and it's why I decided to go NC. I don't think I am strong enough yet to face her without breaking down, and I will never ever again show any weakness in front of her or anyone that might convey that to her. Asking the questions to Frank, surprising and confronting my wife was all about me, not them. I took back control over my life, but I know I am too weak to hold on to that if I were to meet her today. So I will strengthen my resolve, steely myself. I will never again show her any kindness or consideration. For her I will be nothing but a rock-hard, ice-cold, emotionless, indifferent ex-husband. I will burn her and Frank's life to the ground once the divorce goes through. Until then I will work on bettering myself and getting on with my life. F them. They can do whatever they want. I can't control their choices, I can only control my own. Many have asked how I can be this cold and calculating. I think a few even called me crazy. I don't see it like that. Let me be clear, I don't enjoy this at all. I see it as absolutely necessary actions for my own well-being and sanity. Life is change. My marriage in this case developed gangrene, so I am cutting it off before it affects more of my body and causes permanent damage. I have also decided to not flirt or do anything on Tinder. It was a nice ego boost, but I am in a vulnerable state. And I might cause someone else pain since I am not really in control of my emotions at this point. It would be selfish of me to expose anyone else to potential pain just to stroke my own ego. I met with Frank's wife yesterday. We talked for hours at the coffee shop we met. She was devastated. She called Frank and confronted him with me next to her on screen. He begged, pleaded, all the usual stuff. She had been preparing for this as we talked, but still she broke down and just hung up on him in the end. She ended up spending the night in my new apartment in the spare room. She just couldn't go home and face him. We talked all night and it was cathartic to be able to vent my anger with someone that understood what this betrayal feels like. I heard her crying herself to sleep last night. It was heartbreaking. I wanted to go and hug her, but I didn't want to make it weird or make her uncomfortable. I will ask her today if I can do anything to help. I have told her she can stay as long as she wants. Nobody knows about the apartment besides me. It's small and doesn't have a lot of furniture, but it has plenty of food and all the amenities you would need. She is trying to get her head on straight before facing Frank. Frank has been blowing up her phone with messages and apologies. When I left for work this morning, she still haven't responded to any of them. The only person I have talked to beyond message 1 and 2 is my wife's mother. I like her, she is very nice and she has always made me feel welcomed and cared for. She told me that my wife would be committed to a mental facility due to talking about terminal self-harm. She has been in a bad way apparently since the hotel. I told her that she is no longer my responsibility. She made these choices, she will need to deal with the consequences. I would appreciate it if she didn't update me on my wife since it was already painful enough and that I needed distance to properly separate myself from her. I informed her that there is absolutely 0% chance of reconciliation. The divorce will go through, we will not communicate at all outside of issues related to our children. And that will all be done in writing. I have enough just dealing with myself at the moment. So I am not as strong as many seem to think. I managed to pull myself together just enough to cut the cord after 2 months of intense effort. And I would probably devolve into a sobbing mess if I met her today. I need time to heal and everyone calling prevented that. So thank you again Reddit for helping me fend off the well-meaning people that were injecting themselves into my relationship on my wife's behalf. You guys are awesome. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, great revenge fantasy. Redditor 2, stay strong and I wish you a better future. Redditor 3, don't worry about everyone else. They are not going through what you're going through. Just make yourself happy. Redditor 4, what is STBXW?